Alrighty then. Streaming just to YouTube. Facebook doesn't want to play yet again. So here we are. Successful Indie Author 5-Minute Focus, episode 166, Crossing Genre Lines. It is far more frequent than you might think. Oh, this is pure science fiction, space opera. No, it's not. There are no pure books ever. They all cross genre lines somehow in order to attract and maintain all of those audience, tickle the imaginative fancies of the readers across the board. You'll see that every successful book does it. Look at Harry Potter. You have romance elements in there. You have action adventure. You have magic. So urban fantasy. Well, urban fantasy contains those. Yes, that's urban fantasy is a blended genre. Contemporary fantasy. How is that different from urban fantasy? Crossover, lots of crossover. You look at the Venn diagram where you have two circles and there's overlap. Every genre overlaps with other genre. One genre you have to be careful with is horror. Putting horror into books, because when I did a survey, 10% of my readers said they read horror. The other ones were absolutely violently opposed to reading horror. So sneaking that in may not work to titillate your fans as much as you might think. So horror is definitely one that you have to take care with. Paranormal, how is that different from urban fantasy? They all overlap. It's okay to have, because I've got a post-apocalyptic that also has werewolves and vampires, and it works very, very well, actually. And romance, I have romance in that. I have a lot of action sequences in there. I have a lot of military sci-fi in there, and then that series, as it evolves, becomes a space, because they go to space after this post-apocalyptic and they're rescued from Earth, and still sold really well. Internet dropped off. Let me stop the camera. There we go. So what you need to understand about your book, every book has a primary genre. What is that primary genre? The biggest circle of your Venn diagram. It may not be exactly what you think, and some of them are different. Some of them are better. Some of them are not as good as you might have thought. One of my main books was the biggest circle was young adult, and not science fiction and adventure, which is what I thought it was, even though the young adult is a very broad category that doesn't necessarily lean one way or another. However, by targeting young adult, I also drew in a lot of readers who were looking for clean stories, adult readers looking for stories without swearing, without sex. Great, here you go. Space adventure, and that series has sold really, really well as well. But I marketed it wrong for the first year. And after that, you can always sell a good book and the story was sound, and people bought it and they liked it and they kept reading, and then they got into my other stuff. So understand that genre equals marketing. So I didn't write for the first year, but when I did dial it in and get it right, it sold very, very well. And this is something, it's not a bar. Hey, I launched my book and it's not selling. I'm going to leave. I'm not going to be an author anymore. No, don't do that. Find those readers who like the story. And if you start getting a few reviews, getting a few people liking your book, buying the next book, then maybe run a poll and say, hey, oh, by the way, what did you like about this book? I like that it was young adult. It's like, I never marketed it as young adult. It's okay. Then you can. Great thing about genres is you can put your book into different genres and then target those readers with your marketing campaign, and that's how you grow your business. I have my thriller, which isn't necessarily a thriller. It's more of a action adventure kind of book, and it sells well to romantic suspense readers because of the romance element is so heavy in it. Not necessarily intended, it just turned out that way it is. So romantic suspense readers like that, my so-called thriller. So main genre is still action adventure. However, I just understand that there are other circles that overlap with that Venn diagram and fairly heavily. So all kinds of opportunities to market. Look deep inside your book to find all the genres it touches And then in your marketing campaigns, play around. Try marketing to those different readerships. Find books that are primary in those genres, those subgenres, those overlapping genres, and hit them. Hey, here's because in targeting of both Facebook and Amazon, you can target very specific books. So you may not have recognized it, but the readers will. Hey, this is like, use that for your targeting. And there you go, crossing genre lines. Every book does it. Do it with some intentionality, and then use that to market and find the best readership for that story. All right, everybody. Peace, fellow humans.